It starts with a simple question. So, what do you do? Or maybe, that's a nice car, what model is it? Or the classic, thinking of buying a place around here? The prices are insane, right? The conversation is normal, every day. But for some people, a specific part of their brain goes quiet. A door closes. The answer they give is polite, vague, and carefully designed to end the line of questioning. It's not about having something terrible to hide. It's about a deep, often unspoken need for a boundary. Think about the last time you scrolled through your phone. You see a friend's vacation photos from a country you can't afford to visit. You see an acquaintance celebrating a promotion with a bonus you can only imagine. You see the curated highlight reel of purchases, investments, and lifestyles. And even if you're happy for them, there's a tiny, almost imperceptible shift inside. A comparison, a measurement, a quiet question. And where does that leave me? Now, imagine that feeling, but in reverse. That's the daily calculation for someone who chooses financial privacy. It's the anticipation of that shift in someone else's eyes. The moment your number, your decision, your life stops being just yours and becomes a data point in someone else's internal spreadsheet. Your raise isn't just your achievement. It's a benchmark for their frustration. Your debt isn't just a challenge you're navigating. It's a story about your poor choices. Your frugal lunch isn't just a preference. It's a sign you're struggling. For Aina, it began after her first real promotion. She was 28. The raise was significant. She felt a surge of pride, of relief. She told her closest friends over dinner. The congratulations were warm, but then came the subtle changes. Jokes about her buying the next round every time. Must be nice. Comments, wrapped in laughter but with a sharp edge. Questions about her future plans now carried a new weight. So, with that salary, you're probably looking at a house soon, huh? Her financial life was no longer a private journey. It had become public performance, a topic for group analysis. The pride curdled into anxiety. She started to feel her success wasn't truly hers. It was a communal asset she was expected to manage for everyone's approval or resentment. It's not about secrecy, it's about sovereignty. Your money is tied to your security, your choices, your dreams, and your fears. To share it is to hand over keys to parts of your soul you might not be ready to expose. When you say, I make X, you're not just stating a number. You're inviting judgments about your worth, your intelligence, your luck, your family background, your priorities. You're opening a door to unsolicited advice. You should invest in Y. Why are you still renting? At your age, I already had Z. The silence, then, is a fortress. A small, personal one. It's the decision to keep your financial victories quiet so they don't become seeds of envy in someone else's garden. It's the choice to keep your struggles private so they don't become gossip or a burden on someone else's conscience. It's the act of preserving a space where your relationship with money can be messy, uncertain, hopeful, or scared without an audience. This isn't a judgment on those who share openly, it's an understanding of those who don't. Their silence is a form of emotional self-preservation. A way to say, this part of my life is mine to live, not mine to explain. If this dynamic resonates with you, even a little, you're not alone. I'd be really interested to know your perspective. Drop a comment below and let's talk. And if you're finding some truth in this, consider sticking around. This channel is a space for these quiet conversations. So we follow Anna. She leaves that dinner, the buzz of the restaurant fading into the quiet of her car. She doesn't feel excited anymore. She feels watched. The number on her payslip now feels like a label stuck to her forehead. She makes a decision, not out of spite, but out of a deep need for peace. From now on, that part of her life goes into a separate room. She will learn to deflect, to smile, to change the subject. It will feel lonely sometimes, but it will also feel safe. Her money will be a tool for her life, not a topic for her social life. This is where her privacy begins, not in darkness, but in the need for a light that shines for her eyes only. Anna's decision created a quiet space, but that space had its own echoes. The first thing she noticed was the relief. No more justifying her spending. No more defending her savings rate. No more feeling her stomach tighten when money came up in conversation. Her financial life slowly stopped being a script she had to perform and returned to being a series of personal, mundane choices. What to buy for groceries, whether to fix the old laptop or replace it, transferring a bit to savings at the end of the month. These were her thoughts, her calculations, happening in the privacy of her own mind, without a chorus of external opinions. But privacy has a cost. It can be mistaken for distance. Her friend Mark noticed. He was the type who loved talking numbers. He found camaraderie in comparing tax strategies, debating investment apps, and sharing the exact cost of his home renovation. To him, this was bonding. To Anna, it felt like an invasion. One afternoon, over coffee, he pushed. "Come on, Anna, you got that big promotion last year. You must be maxing out your retirement account, right? What's your allocation look like?" Anna stirred her coffee, feeling the heat of the mug in her palms. She looked out the window. "I'm figuring it out," she said, her voice even. Mark leaned in, confused. "But you've got to get on it. Time is money, literally. I can send you some links." "It's not that I don't appreciate it, Mark," she said, meeting his eyes. "It's just, when I talk about it, it stops being my plan and starts becoming a discussion. And then I get paralyzed. I need it to just be mine for a while." He sat back, a little hurt. "I'm just trying to help. It's what friends do." This is the core misunderstanding. For people like Mark, sharing financial details is a language of trust and collaboration. For people like Anna, not sharing is a language of self-preservation and autonomy. It's not a rejection of the person, it's a protection of the process. When money becomes a performance, something vital is lost. The internal motivation gets clouded by external expectations. Think about why you might save for a vacation. If you tell everyone, the goal subtly changes. It's no longer just about you experiencing a new place. It's about booking the right hotel everyone will approve of, taking the perfect photos to post, having stories that sound impressive. The vacation becomes, in part, for them, for their validation. The same happens with a purchase, an investment, even a debt payoff plan. The moment it enters the social sphere, it acquires an audience, and playing to an audience is exhausting. Anna remembered saving for her first car as a teenager. It was a secret mission. Every babysitting dollar, every cash gift, went into an envelope in her drawer. No one knew the total. No one gave her advice on models. When she finally bought it, a used, modest sedan, the victory was intensely, purely hers. The feeling of the key in her hand was untouchable. Contrast that with the promotion dinner. The applause was public, but the satisfaction was hollow, diluted by everyone else's reactions. This is what she's trying to get back. The ownership, the ability to make a mistake with her money without it being a topic of post-mortem analysis. The freedom to prioritize a peaceful, simple life over an impressive one without having to explain that choice. Her silence is a wall she built not to keep people out, but to keep a feeling in, the feeling that her life is her own. She pays for her coffee, and Mark changes the subject. There's a slight stiffness, but it passes. Anna walks home, her thoughts her own. She thinks about maybe investing a small amount next month. She thinks about the laptop, deciding to repair it. These are quiet decisions. They carry no weight of performance. They are just the mechanics of building a life, brick by private brick. The fortress of her privacy isn't empty. It's where she is finally able to hear her own voice again, without the static of the outside world. It's where her financial life stops being a topic and returns to being simply her life. The fortress provides peace, but it is not always a comfortable place. There are days when the silence feels heavy. Anna scrolls through a group chat where friends are excitedly planning a destination wedding. The cost estimates are flying back and forth. She feels a knot in her stomach. She wants to be part of the joy, the collective excitement. But to do that, she would have to reveal her own budget constraints, to insert her number into the conversation. She types, then deletes, then types again. Finally, she sends a simple, "Looks amazing. Let me check my calendar and budget. I'll get back to you." It's a polite shield. It gives her time to think in private, to feel the disappointment, or make the calculations without a dozen eyes watching her process. This is the other side of privacy, the loneliness of self-reliance. When you don't share the struggle, you also can't share the burden. You celebrate payoffs alone. You wrestle with financial anxiety alone. You navigate the guilt of a splurge or the stress of an unexpected bill in the quiet of your own mind. There is no we in this part of her life. It is a solitary journey. For David, Anna's older colleague, the privacy stemmed from a different source: shame. He was 55. From the outside, he had the life: a long career, a respectable title, a nice watch. What no one saw was the crushing weight of his son's medical bills from years ago, the debt that never quite disappeared, the retirement savings that were pathetically thin for a man his age. He wore a tie every day, a uniform of success, while inside he calculated how many more years he'd have to work. To share this would be to dismantle the entire identity he'd built. He would become the guy with the debt, the cautionary tale. So he laughed along with jokes about early retirement. He nodded at investment talks. He performed the role of a man who had figured it out. The performance was exhausting, a full-time job on top of his job. But the alternative, the vulnerability, the pity, the unsolicited advice, felt worse. Anna sees David in meetings, his composed demeanor, and she wonders what his quiet looks like. She realizes then that financial privacy isn't one thing. For her, it was about protecting her peace from comparison. For David, it's about protecting his dignity from judgment. For a young parent, it might be about shielding their children from anxiety. For an artist, it might be about keeping commerce separate from craft, so the work doesn't become about the market price. The common thread is protection. Protection of a fragile sense of self-worth that is too often tangled up with net worth. In a world that constantly asks, "What do you do?" and "How much does it pay?" choosing not to answer is a small act of rebellion. It's a statement that your value is not a number on a spreadsheet. Your security is not a topic for public debate. Anna decides not to go to the destination wedding. She sends a generous gift and a heartfelt note. It's a financial decision, but more than that, it's an emotional one. She knows being there, while worrying about the cost every second, would taint the experience. Making the choice privately allows her to feel genuine happiness for her friend, without the bitterness of personal sacrifice. She feels a pang of isolation, but also a solid sense of self-respect. She traded the performance for authenticity, even if that authenticity is a quiet, solitary thing. She looks at her own budget later that night, the spreadsheet glowing on her screen. The numbers are neutral. They are not good or bad, they are just facts of her life. They represent her choices, her history, her current reality. In the silence, she can look at them without flinching. There is no one to perform for, no one to disappoint, no one to impress. There is just her, and the math and the life she is slowly, quietly building from it. The weight is heavy, but it is hers to carry. And there is a peculiar strength in knowing the shape of your own burden, in not having its edges defined by anyone else's expectations. Years pass. Anna is 35 now. The promotion that once felt like a spotlight is just a part of her career history. She has a system. She has built her fortress brick by brick, and she knows its contours intimately. It is no longer a reaction. It is a chosen environment. She has a partner now, Liam, and with him, the walls came down. They have a shared, transparent financial life. The fears, the dreams, the numbers. But with the rest of the world, the boundary remains. It is calm, consistent, and understood by those who know her. One day, her younger sister Maya calls. Maya's voice is strained. She's just gotten a massive raise, bigger than she ever imagined. But instead of joy, she feels dread. "Everyone's going to ask," she says. "My friends, our family. I don't want to be the person they talk about. I don't want every dinner to be about my job. What do I do?" Anna listens. She hears her own younger self in Maya's anxiety. She looks out her kitchen window, watching the afternoon light on the trees in her backyard. A house she bought quietly, without a social media announcement, simply because it felt like home. "You don't have to tell them the number," Anna says, her voice quiet and steady. "You can just say you're happy with the new role, that you feel valued. The number is for you and your spreadsheets. The feeling is what you get to share if you want to, or you don't have to share anything at all. It's yours." There is a long silence on the other end of the line. Then, a release of breath. "Okay," Maya says. "Okay." This is the culmination. Financial privacy, when chosen consciously, is not a prison of secrecy. It is the creation of a sanctuary. It is where your financial decisions can be imperfect, experimental, or deeply personal without a running commentary. It is where enough is a value you define for yourself, not a benchmark set by your social circle. It allows your relationship with money to be a practical, sometimes emotional, but always private dialogue about how to build a life that feels true to you. Anna thinks of David, her old colleague. He retired last year. At his small farewell gathering, he seemed lighter. The performance was over. She never learned the details of his struggles, and she respected that. His peace, finally, was his own. The goal of this silence is not isolation. It is integrity. It is the alignment of your inner life with your outer life. When you stop performing your finances, you reclaim the energy spent on managing perceptions. You can put that energy into actually living. The vacation you take might be less Instagrammable, but you'll be present for it. The car you drive might be less impressive, but you'll enjoy the freedom it brings without a hint of apology. The savings account might be for a goal no one else would understand, and that makes it all the more meaningful. Anna ends the call with her sister. She feels a quiet sense of passing on a tool, not a fear. She walks into her living room, a space furnished slowly, with pieces she genuinely loved, not pieces meant to signal a style. There is a profound peace in this. Her financial life is not a hidden thing. It is simply a personal thing. It is woven into the fabric of her days, The groceries, the mortgage payment, the occasional treat, the steady savings, but it is not the pattern everyone else gets to see. She has learned that behind every person who chooses not to talk about money, there is a story of protecting joy from envy, of protecting struggle from judgment, of protecting a dream from too many opinions. It is rarely about coldness or deception. It is almost always about tenderness, a tenderness towards one's own fragile sense of peace in a noisy, comparing world. If this reflection on quiet boundaries and personal peace made sense to you, you might find more of it here. For stories that explore the unspoken parts of our lives, consider subscribing to the channel. Turning on the bell means you won't miss the next conversation. Thanks for listening.